Welcome to this video on Stoicism and emotional detachment. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by emotional attachment, as if someone else is holding the remote control to your feelings? Do you wish you could break free from the mental shackles that bind you, without shutting down your capacity for love and connection? If you're ready to reclaim your inner peace and live a life where your happiness is no longer dictated by external circumstances, then this video is for you. Drawing from the wisdom of ancient Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca, we will explore 10 powerful Stoic rules that will transform your approach to emotional detachment. But why is emotional detachment so important? As Seneca said, "He who is brave is free." Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you start living a life where your mind is your own, no longer swayed by the whims of others. These Stoic rules will help you achieve this by guiding you to focus on what is within your control and let go of what is not. By embracing these teachings, you can learn to prioritize your inner peace over external validation. Stay with us until the end of this video, because each rule builds on the next to give you a comprehensive framework for emotional freedom. You'll gain practical, Stoic-inspired habits that will not only loosen the grip of attachment, but also empower you to navigate life's ups and downs with resilience and wisdom. Let's begin with Rule 1. 1. Reframe your thoughts. Change the color of your mind. Have you ever noticed how your thoughts can dictate your emotions, as if dyeing your soul with different hues? Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." But do we ever question whether the color we are seeing is the right one, or if it is distorted by attachment? This is where reframing comes in. The thoughts you entertain can significantly influence your emotional state, especially when you're attached to someone. If you tell yourself, "I can't live without this person," how does that shape your experience? Does it not anchor you to a place of dependency, making your emotions fragile and your mind restless? Stoicism teaches that we must challenge our thoughts to break free from these chains. Ask yourself, are my thoughts based on reality, or are they exaggerations of my emotional state? Is the belief that I need this person's approval for my happiness truly valid, or is it a construct that my mind has built over time? The Stoic approach is to examine the accuracy of these beliefs and recognize that they often are not grounded in reason. Start by identifying the negative thoughts that keep you attached. These thoughts may include beliefs like, "I'll never find someone else," or "I am not complete without them." These are the kinds of ideas that Stoicism encourages us to challenge. Ask yourself, what evidence do I have to support this belief? When you do so, you will often find that your fears are not as absolute as they seem. Once you've identified and questioned these negative thoughts, replace them with balanced perspectives that align with Stoic principles. Instead of thinking, "I am incomplete without this person," try reframing it to, "I am complete in myself, and connections add value to my life, but they do not define it." Instead of, "I will never find someone else," consider, "The universe is vast, and there are endless opportunities for meaningful connections." By actively reframing your thoughts, you are reshaping your mind and cultivating a more resilient attitude. This Stoic practice doesn't just involve changing individual thoughts. It is about creating a habit of questioning and altering your mindset daily. This is how you change the color of your mind, making it more vibrant and less dictated by external attachments. To solidify this practice, incorporate daily affirmations that emphasize your independence and self-worth. Write down positive statements about yourself, such as, "I am enough," or "I find happiness within myself," and read them aloud every day. This simple yet profound practice will gradually reshape the way you see the world and, more importantly, your place within it. When you learn to reframe your thoughts, you are not denying reality. You are choosing to see it more clearly. This leads to a form of emotional detachment that allows you to live fully without being burdened by unhealthy dependencies. Now let's continue to rule number 2 and delve into the role of self-care in Stoic detachment. 2. Engage in self-care. Nurture the garden within. Seneca once said, "A sound mind in a sound body is a short but full description of a happy state in this world." But how often do we neglect this wisdom in pursuit of external validation? We may sacrifice our well-being for the sake of pleasing others or cling to someone else's approval to feel worthy. Have you ever considered that taking care of yourself is not a selfish act, but a fundamental duty to your own nature? In Stoicism, self-care is not about indulgence or luxury. It is about maintaining the strength and clarity of the mind and body. When you neglect yourself, you weaken your ability to navigate life's challenges with grace. On the other hand, when you engage in self-care, you build a foundation of resilience that supports emotional detachment. What does self-care look like in practice? For the Stoic, it begins with simple but meaningful habits. Exercise, for example, is not just a way to stay fit. It is a form of discipline that strengthens your will. When you push yourself physically, you are also training your mind to endure discomfort and to rise above distractions. Meditation and mindfulness are equally important. They help you cultivate an awareness of your thoughts, allowing you to observe them without judgment. When you meditate, you learn to quiet the noise of attachment and listen to the still voice of your true self. This is the voice that reminds you that your worth does not depend on others' perceptions. What activities bring you joy and fulfillment? It could be reading, painting, or simply taking a walk in nature. Stoicism encourages you to pursue these activities, not as a way to escape life's difficulties, but to enhance your capacity to face them. When you fill your life with meaningful experiences, you become less reliant on others for your happiness. Self-care also extends to setting boundaries. Have you ever found yourself exhausted because you kept saying yes when you wanted to say no? Learning to set healthy limits is an essential part of self-care. It is not about rejecting others. It is about affirming your own needs and ensuring that you have the energy to meet them. By engaging in self-care, you create a balanced lifestyle that makes emotional detachment a natural byproduct. You do not have to force yourself to let go. You simply become stronger and more self-sufficient, making it easier to release what no longer serves you. With a renewed sense of self, let's now move on to Rule 3, where we explore how to embrace the present moment. 3. Embrace the present moment. Confine yourself to the now. Confine yourself to the present, Marcus Aurelius advised. But how often do we find ourselves trapped in the past or anxious about the future? Are we not allowing the present to slip away while we cling to memories or worry about events that have not yet come to pass? Stoicism teaches that life unfolds in the present moment, and if you wish to detach emotionally, you must learn to live fully in the now. When you dwell on the past, you relive moments that no longer exist, and when you obsess over the future, you create anxieties about events that may never happen. Both of these habits prevent you from experiencing the richness of life. Ask yourself, what is the benefit of reliving past pains or anticipating future troubles? Does it not only magnify your attachment to what has been or what may be? To embrace the present, you must first recognize that the past is gone and the future is not yet here. All you have is this moment, and it is enough. Mindfulness is a powerful tool for grounding yourself in the present. When you practice mindfulness, you bring your attention to the current experience, whether it is the sensation of your breath, the taste of your food, or the sound of your surroundings. These simple acts of awareness pull you back into the here and now, allowing you to let go of distractions. Consider incorporating mindful activities into your daily routine. Whether it's meditation, breathing exercises, or even mindful walking, these practices train your mind to focus on the present and let go of attachments. When you are fully engaged in what you are doing, there is little room for the mental clutter that keeps you tethered to the past or future. Living in the present also involves cultivating gratitude. When you appreciate what you have, you are less likely to feel the need for what you lack. By focusing on the abundance in your life, you gradually detach from the desires that fuel your attachments. This shift in perspective allows you to experience a deeper sense of contentment. Embracing the present moment does not mean ignoring the past or neglecting future responsibilities. It means that your primary focus remains on what you can do now, in this moment, to improve your life and grow as a person. The past and future become reference points, not places of residence. Let us now transition to Rule 4 and learn about setting healthy boundaries. 4. Set healthy boundaries, the line between you and others. Setting boundaries is not just an act of self-preservation, it is an expression of respect for both yourself and others. When you set healthy limits, you define where you end and another person begins. Have you ever felt emotionally drained because you found it difficult to say no? Or perhaps you've allowed others to overstep your personal limits because you feared losing them? Stoicism teaches us that self-respect and autonomy are crucial to emotional stability. Boundaries help you maintain a sense of self, ensuring that your emotional well-being is not compromised by others' actions or expectations. When you establish boundaries, you are not pushing people away. Instead, you are creating a balanced environment where mutual respect can thrive. To practice this effectively, start by identifying what behaviors are acceptable to you and what are not. Reflect on how certain actions, words, or requests make you feel. Do they bring you peace or cause you stress? Acknowledge that it is your right to protect your emotional space. As Seneca pointed out, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Setting boundaries helps prevent the emotional suffering that arises from worrying about others' reactions. Communicate your boundaries clearly. You don't need to be confrontational. A calm, firm tone is often enough. When someone's behavior causes you discomfort, express your needs by saying, "I need some space right now," or "I'm not comfortable with this." Being honest and direct is not about creating distance, but about maintaining your well-being. If others struggle to respect your boundaries, it is a reflection of their issues, not your worth. The Stoics emphasize the importance of knowing what is within your control and what is not. You cannot control how others respond to your boundaries, but you can control your decision to enforce them. This is not about withdrawing from relationships, it's about approaching them from a position of strength rather than weakness. When you set limits, you are not refusing to engage with life. You are ensuring that your engagement is healthy and sustainable. Have you ever thought about how setting boundaries aligns with the Stoic principle of focusing on what is within your power? By saying no when necessary, you are not being selfish. You are prioritizing your mental and emotional health. This act of self-respect makes it easier to detach from unhealthy attachments, as you are no longer dependent on others for your validation. Remember, boundaries are not walls, they are guidelines that help define healthy interactions and allow for authentic connections. When you set and maintain these boundaries, you cultivate relationships based on respect and mutual understanding, rather than neediness or emotional dependence. Now, let's move forward to Rule 5, where we discuss the power of detachment and how to reclaim control of your emotional state. 5. The power of detachment. Reclaim control of your mind. Have you ever felt like your emotions are at the mercy of someone else's actions? Do you find yourself reacting to every situation as if someone is pulling the strings behind your emotions? This is where the power of detachment comes into play. Detachment is not about shutting down or becoming emotionally numb. Rather, it is about reclaiming control over your own mind and reactions. As Marcus Aurelius wisely observed, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This principle is at the heart of Stoicism, teaching that while you cannot control what others do or say, you can choose how you respond. When you allow your emotions to be dictated by external factors, you hand over the remote control of your happiness to someone else. The goal of detachment is to take back that remote and decide for yourself which channels to watch. Why do we cling so tightly to people and situations, even when it causes us pain? Is it because we fear losing what we know, even if it is harmful? The Stoic approach to detachment involves understanding that by letting go, you do not lose yourself. Instead, you rediscover your true nature. You realize that your happiness is not a product of someone else's presence, but of your own inner peace. Imagine your emotions as a kite with strings attached to various people and circumstances. If you hold on too tightly to these strings or cling to too many of them, you become vulnerable to the shifting winds of life. Stoicism encourages you to loosen your grip, understanding that while you cannot control the wind, you can decide which strings to hold. This does not make you indifferent, it makes you resilient. Practically speaking, start by identifying the areas where you feel overly attached. What are the situations or relationships that seem to control your emotional state? Ask yourself why you are clinging to them. Is it out of fear, a desire for validation, or a need for security? By recognizing these motivations, you can begin to release their hold on you. Engaging in activities that bring you fulfillment and satisfaction, independently of others, is a powerful way to reinforce this practice. When you focus on what you can control, your actions, your thoughts, and your growth, you anchor yourself in your own strength. You cultivate an inner sense of value that is not contingent on external circumstances. This shift in focus transforms your approach to life, allowing you to engage with it more fully and freely. As you embrace detachment, you begin to see that your worth is not tied to anyone else's approval or actions. You reclaim the remote control of your emotions and decide which channels you wish to tune into. This newfound freedom brings clarity and confidence, enabling you to move forward with a steady heart. Let's proceed to Rule 6, where we will explore how to embrace the present moment and live fully in the here and now. 6. Embrace the present moment. Confine yourself to the now. Are you living in the past, replaying old memories, or projecting yourself into the future with worry and anticipation? Marcus Aurelius advised, confine yourself to the present as a way to free oneself from unnecessary suffering. But what does it mean to truly embrace the present moment? The present moment is the only time that truly exists. The past is gone, and the future is yet to come. Yet many of us live as though our minds are time travelers, constantly drifting to past regrets or future anxieties. This mental wandering prevents us from experiencing life as it unfolds and keeps us tethered to attachments. Ask yourself, what benefit do you derive from reliving past pains or anticipating future troubles? Does it help you solve problems, or does it merely add to your emotional burdens? Stoicism teaches us that while we cannot change the past or predict the future, we can choose how to experience the present. Living in the now is not about ignoring what has been or neglecting what will come. It is about choosing to focus your attention on what you can do today. To practice this, consider mindfulness techniques that bring your attention back to the present. When you find your mind drifting, gently guide it back to the current experience. This could involve focusing on your breathing, paying attention to your surroundings, or fully engaging in whatever task you are doing. When you immerse yourself in the present, you reduce the influence of external attachments that pull you in different directions. The practice of gratitude can also anchor you in the present. By appreciating what you have here and now, you cultivate a mindset of abundance. This shift from scarcity to abundance helps diminish the desire for what is not within your grasp, making it easier to detach from those things that do not contribute to your current state of well-being. Have you ever found yourself longing for the future, thinking that happiness will come when something happens? Or perhaps you dwell on what could have been, as if the past holds the key to your joy. These are illusions that keep you from living fully. Embracing the present moment allows you to recognize that happiness is not found in future achievements or past glories, but in the way you approach life right now. By grounding yourself in the present, you free your mind from the burdens of attachment to what was or what might be. You begin to see life for what it is, a continuous flow of moments each an opportunity to grow and experience the world in its true form. Let's continue to Rule 7, where we discuss the role of gratitude and how it transforms our approach to emotional detachment. 7. Practice gratitude. Shift from scarcity to abundance. Do you ever feel like you're always chasing after something, thinking that your happiness lies just beyond your grasp? The philosopher Epictetus once noted, "Do not spoil what you have by desiring what you have not. Remember that what you now have was once among the things you only hoped for." Practicing gratitude is a powerful way to detach emotionally by shifting your focus from what you lack to what you possess. In Stoicism, gratitude is not merely about being thankful for what is pleasant in life. It is about recognizing the value in everything, even those experiences that are challenging. This perspective allows you to see life in its entirety, not as a series of gains and losses, but as a continuous unfolding of opportunities for growth and understanding. How can gratitude help with emotional detachment? When you focus on what you already have, you reduce the perceived need for what is absent. Ask yourself, what do I have today that I once longed for? Perhaps it is a stable job, a loving friendship, or even the ability to pursue a passion. By acknowledging these aspects of your life, you train your mind to appreciate the present and let go of the constant longing for more. In practical terms, try keeping a gratitude journal. Write down 3 things you are grateful for each day, no matter how small they may seem. This daily practice redirects your attention from lack to abundance, gradually loosening the grip of attachment. Over time, you will find that your sense of fulfillment comes not from external sources, but from an inner recognition of life's blessings. The Stoics also taught that true gratitude involves being thankful for adversity. Have you ever considered how difficulties can shape you, making you stronger and more resilient? By appreciating the lessons learned through hardship, you detach from the idea that life should be easy or that happiness is guaranteed. You come to understand that each experience, whether pleasant or painful, contributes to your growth. Gratitude enhances your emotional well-being by shifting your focus to the present moment, where life is actually lived. It allows you to recognize the sufficiency of what you already have, making it easier to detach from desires that do not serve you. This does not mean you should not strive for betterment, but rather that your contentment is not conditional on acquiring more. Let us move on to Rule 8, where we will explore the deeper understanding of attachment and its roots in the ego. 8. Understanding attachment and the ego. Recognize the illusions. Why do we become so attached to certain people or outcomes? What compels us to cling to relationships or situations even when they cause us suffering? The Stoics understood that attachment is often a product of the ego, a manifestation of our desires, fears, and insecurities. By examining these roots, we can begin to untangle ourselves from the emotional bonds that hold us back. Epictetus wisely said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." This reflects the Stoic understanding that our attachments are tied to our desires for validation, security, or identity. When we place our sense of worth or happiness in the hands of another person, we are allowing our ego to dictate our emotional state. This need for validation can lead us to believe that our happiness is dependent on someone else's approval or presence. But is that truly the case? Think about a time when you felt your happiness hinged on another person's actions. Did their behavior genuinely add to your intrinsic value, or was it simply your perception that gave it so much power? The Stoic approach is to recognize that these attachments are often illusions created by the ego, which seeks to find worth in external circumstances rather than from within. Attachment, at its core, is a distraction from our true essence. It is a way for the ego to mask feelings of inadequacy or fear of loss. Have you ever asked yourself, why am I so afraid to let go? Is it because you fear being alone, or do you feel that your identity is tied to the relationship or outcome? These questions help uncover the true nature of your attachment, allowing you to confront and ultimately release it. To detach from the ego's influence, begin by observing your desires. Are they driven by genuine needs or by a fear of lacking something? When you can identify the source of your attachment, you can start to weaken its hold. For instance, if you feel that your happiness depends on someone else's validation, ask yourself whether this need is based on your own beliefs or external expectations. The realization that your worth is independent of anyone else's approval is empowering and liberating. Understanding attachment also involves embracing the concept of abundance. When you let go of the belief that you need a particular person or outcome to feel complete, you open yourself to new possibilities. Stoicism teaches that life is full of opportunities and that clinging too tightly to one thing can close you off from others. Letting go does not mean losing. It means making room for growth and new experiences. It is important to remember that the process of detachment is not about becoming cold or indifferent. It is about recognizing that the most valuable form of love is the kind that is free from neediness or desperation. When you love from a place of abundance, you can appreciate others for who they are without relying on them to fulfill your own emotional needs. This kind of love is resilient and enduring because it is not based on ego-driven attachment but on a genuine connection. By confronting the ego and questioning your attachments, you begin to see life with greater clarity. You understand that your worth is not tied to the validation of others, but is found in the strength of your character and the wisdom of your choices. This insight allows you to detach from the need for external approval and embrace a life of emotional freedom. Let us now continue to Rule 9, where we will discuss practical ways to implement detachment in daily life. 9. Detachment in practice. Let go to move forward. Have you ever felt like you were holding on to something so tightly that it hurt, but you didn't know how to let go? Perhaps it was a past relationship, an unfulfilled desire, or a painful memory. The very thought of releasing it may seem daunting, as if doing so would leave you empty or lost. But what if letting go could actually lead to something greater? In Stoicism, the practice of detachment is not about giving up on life or withdrawing from the world. It is about releasing the mental and emotional burdens that weigh you down, freeing yourself to pursue a more meaningful and balanced life. Epictetus advised, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." This concept applies perfectly to emotional detachment, where letting go of unnecessary desires creates space for true fulfillment. Imagine you are clinging to a rope. Your hands ache from holding on so tightly, but you fear what will happen if you let go. Will you fall, or will you finally find relief? Letting go does not mean you will be left with nothing. Often, it is an opportunity to stretch your hands and reach out for something new. When you release the need to control everything, you make room for life to unfold naturally. To put detachment into practice, start by identifying the things or people you are clinging to. What are the memories, relationships, or expectations that seem to control your emotional state? Write them down and ask yourself why they hold such power over you. Is it because you believe your happiness is tied to these things? Or are you afraid of what life might be like without them? This self-examination helps you understand the true nature of your attachment. The next step is to take gradual actions that loosen the grip of these attachments. This could involve setting boundaries, engaging in new activities that bring you joy, or even taking a break from social media if it exacerbates feelings of comparison and inadequacy. By gradually reducing your dependence on these attachments, you allow yourself to find fulfillment from within rather than from external sources. Another important aspect of detachment is facing the fear of the unknown. The fear of missing out, FOMO, often keeps us clinging to things that no longer serve us. Have you ever felt anxious because you saw others living what appeared to be a perfect life on social media? This illusion of happiness can create a false image that is difficult to let go of. Remember, the grass may look greener from a distance, but up close it has its own imperfections. When you practice detachment, you are not rejecting life's experiences. You are choosing to engage with them on your own terms. This approach allows you to appreciate connections without being consumed by them, to embrace opportunities without becoming dependent on them, and to live with a sense of purpose without being tied to a specific outcome. Finally, reflect on the words of Marcus Aurelius, who advised, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart." This quote encapsulates the Stoic approach to detachment. It is about loving and living fully, without becoming so attached that you lose sight of your own path. As we move to the final rule, Rule 10, we will discuss the path to happiness and how emotional detachment leads to a more resilient and fulfilling life. 10. The path to happiness. Find fulfillment within. Have you ever wondered why happiness seems so elusive, as if always just out of reach? Is it because we are searching for it in the wrong places, believing that it is tied to someone else's presence or a particular set of circumstances? Stoicism teaches us that true happiness is not found in external conditions, but within ourselves. Epictetus remarked, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This statement is key to understanding the Stoic path to happiness. If you place your contentment in the hands of others or tie it to material success, you set yourself up for disappointment. These external sources of happiness are transient and beyond your control. However, when you cultivate happiness from within, you create a resilient and lasting state of mind that endures regardless of external changes. To pursue this inner path to happiness, start by asking yourself, what truly brings you fulfillment? Is it the admiration of others, or is it the quiet contentment that comes from living according to your values? Stoicism encourages you to focus on what is within your control, your thoughts, actions, and character. When you align your life with these principles, you find that happiness is a natural result of living virtuously. Detachment plays a vital role in this process. By letting go of the need for external validation, you free yourself from the emotional highs and lows that accompany dependence on others. You come to realize that your worth is not determined by the praise or rejection of others, but by the integrity of your own character. This insight allows you to approach life with a sense of calm and equanimity. Imagine a bird that believes it needs permission to fly. It waits and waits, hoping that one day someone will grant it the freedom it already possesses. When you detach from the idea that your happiness is contingent on someone else's approval, you free yourself to soar. You realize that the sky has always been open and that your capacity for joy is within your own grasp. Happiness, according to Stoicism, is not a fleeting emotion, but a state of being that comes from living in harmony with nature and your own values. It involves accepting what you cannot change and taking responsibility for what you can. When you stop seeking happiness outside yourself, you discover that it has been within you all along. To maintain this inner happiness, continue practicing the Stoic principles we have discussed, reframing your thoughts, engaging in self-care, embracing the present moment, setting boundaries, and understanding the nature of attachment. Each of these practices supports your ability to detach emotionally from external sources of distress and to find fulfillment within. As we conclude this journey through the 10 Stoic rules for emotional detachment, remember that these practices are not a one-time effort, but an ongoing process. Life is ever-changing, and so too will be the challenges you face. But with Stoic principles as your guide, you will cultivate the strength and wisdom to navigate these changes with resilience and grace. Now that you've explored the 10 Stoic rules for emotional detachment, how will you put them into practice in your own life? Which principles resonate with you the most, and where do you see room for growth? Leave a comment below and share your thoughts with us. Your experiences may inspire others who are on the same path. If you found value in this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel for more insights on Stoicism and personal growth. Sharing this video with friends who may benefit from these teachings is also a great way to spread wisdom and support others on their journey. Remember, the path to emotional freedom is not about severing ties with the world, but about engaging with it in a way that honors your true self. Detach from what does not serve you, embrace the present moment, and cultivate a life of inner peace and resilience. Thank you for joining us, and may you find strength and tranquility in the Stoic way of life. Stay strong and keep practicing Stoicism daily as you continue to grow.